Okay, so in the last few days, a couple people have walked up to Richard here when he was out front working on his own home and asked who he worked for, if he's bonded, certified, that kind of stuff, and all that. And even though he's working on his own home, so he's going to explain in the state of Oklahoma, what does it mean to be bonded or certified as a contractor? Licensed as a contractor.
So, anyway, like she said, I got approached a couple of times because of the storm damage. Since I was working on the house, and it looks really good, and they're, hey, are you licensed and bonded? And this has come up before, and people don't understand what licensing and bonding in the state of Oklahoma is. So, I got this little thing here that you can go to at the cib.ok.
It's really bright
Go.
back there. Construction Industries Board.
Yes. Now, when people say they are licensed, they can get a license to be a contractor in Oklahoma. Now, the first thing that it says when what skilled trades are regulated by the Construction Industries Board, it will tell you that it's the plumbing, electrical, mechanical, roofing, building, and construction inspectors. Nothing else. So, are general contractors required to have a state license in Oklahoma? Question number 2. Answer: general contractors are not currently required to have a state license in Oklahoma. Now, this is the state website. So, whenever a contractor comes up to you and says, I am a state licensed contractor, he is lying to you. Ask him, what are you licensed in? And ask him for that license, because he will only be able to show you his driver's license. He's not lying to you. What he's doing is he's just giving you a half-truth, okay? There are no such things except for, as I've said multiple times, specialized fields. These require upgrades on a yearly basis. Now, with that being said, there are many general contractors that will get licensed just so that they can cover their bases. And it doesn't do any good because they're their own contractor. So they are at their own peril. When you have your home done, you are acting as your own general contractor. So, lesson number 1, you are required to pull all your own permits. If you do not, and your contractor said, well, I pulled the permits, and he didn't, guess who's liable? You are. The city will not care. The state will not care. Your insurance definitely won't care, because you're no longer covered. You will not find this out until you have been shafted. And many people have been. You've seen it in the news. You've read it in the newspapers. You've seen it on TikTok. It's everywhere. Poor little old lady gets shafted by a contractor. Now, I am licensed in the state of Oklahoma. You can go on to OSCN, look up my name, and it will be in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma County, and it will say, Richard Simons, licensed by the state of Oklahoma for Historical Preservation Society. I am also nationally licensed by the Historical Preservation Society. That gives me the right to do historical work. That's all it does. It doesn't guarantee my work. It's just like me having my driver's license doesn't say I'm a good driver. So get that license stuff out of your heads. Bonding. Many people have misunderstand what a bond is for a contractor. So they automatically jump to bonding and licensing, and they don't ask the bigger question, which is insurance, and I'll get to that. Bonding is just one thing, and that is to ensure the fact that you are who you say you are. It is not like Dog the Bounty Hunter is going to chase you down if you don't complete the job, because your money is just gone. You've heard about it before. People pay for a material up front and the contractor does not return. And then you try to go to the police. He ripped me off. And the police say, well, sorry, you had a contract. You'll need to take it to court. It's a civil case. It's not a criminal case. He did not steal from you. So, what did that bond do for you? It told you the same thing again, that what you could have got the information off of his license. You could go to oscn.net and get the same information as what you could off his license. Or that person's license, that company's license. If they're not electrical, plumbing, HVAC, mechanical, engineering, there is a list, asbestos removal. A lot of those are certifications that get tied into licensing. But the big thing that you got to look for is insurance. And there's two different kinds. Now, I am also a licensed insurance agent or producer. Okay? That's something I did before I got retired. And so all these licenses go through the OIC, Oklahoma Insurance Commission. They also go through the Oklahoma Supreme Court Network, OSCN. Both of them work in tandem to ensure that everything is up front and good to go. The Attorney General of Oklahoma makes sure of it. So, anyhow, like I say, there's two different types of insurance. There's general liability and full liability. What do you have on your car? So, if you drive around with general liability, you can guess what general liability for your home is. General liability for your home is a very limited liability insurance. It is not going to cover very much. So let's say your contractor goes and puts a roof on like mine did. Now, he didn't work for me, he worked for the previous owner, and it was a friend. He did crappy work. Now, I can't go back and say anything about it. She couldn't go back and say anything about it because he only had general liability insurance. If you hire a company with general liability insurance, you are going to get shafted. The max amount of general liability insurance you can get is $1.5 million at this time. Nobody has $2.5 million general liability insurance, okay? That is a lie. I don't care. You can call State Farm. You can call anybody out there, real estate agent, builders, anybody. They will tell you the same thing. There is no such thing. In fact, call your real estate agent whenever you have a problem with your home, because I'll tell you what, they will give you the worst contractors in the business, and those are the guys that you want to stay away from because they go the cheap route. So then you'll have a list of who not to go to, and you can avoid those people. Now, full liability, however, will give you the best coverage from that contractor. And what I did as a company owner, I had full liability insurance. Was I bonded? Never. Why? Why would I need to be bonded? You would know where I was. I never asked for a down payment. If someone has a small job to do on your home and needs to have payment up front, run. Do not look back. Do not pay anything to that contractor. If you do, you're a fool. They are going to rip you off. There's a reason why people do that. That is because they're taking from Paul to pay Peter. So they've overextended themselves. So most likely your job is going to get corners cut on it. You're probably not going to get the materials that are guaranteed to be on that job. And they're not going to have the same kind of insurances. And I do not care what size company it is. It all is dependent upon what type of material is used. Now, I know Lowe's and all them, they have you buy the material up front and then they'll have an installer come out. But that's different. That is where you're actually buying all the material and the only thing that's being supplied to you is the labor. You're not paying that contractor for anything. You're not beholden to that contractor for anything. He is not going to take anything off your job. If he does, then it is theft. So you don't have to worry about any of that. So I hope this helps at least a little bit to get you guys understanding what I have learned over 35 years of being a contractor. I've been doing this stuff since I was 9 years old. I'm very good at what I do. I've worked for the state, I've worked for the county, I've worked for the city.
Is it different under places like Andy on Call?
Yes. You're a subcontractor under, like, if you're working as a subcontractor under Andy on Call, he is the general contractor, you are the subcontractor. So let's say Andy on Call gives you a contract with Macy's or a homeowner, it doesn't matter. You are not responsible for any damages, but Andy on Call is. So he's the one that has to hold all the general liabilities and everything else. So you're a third person, and now you can sue them, and that would be a secondary lawsuit, a secondary defendant in the lawsuit if there was one.
So in a way, it's like working for a staffing agency and you're the temp.
Yes, yeah. You're just a subcontractor. When you're the contractor, you are the one that's responsible. You as the homeowner, you're still a subcontractor to the homeowner that you're doing business with no matter what, because they're the general contractor, you're the subcontractor when you go to work for them. But Andy on Call is the subcontractor to the homeowner, which makes him the general contractor to you as the worker underneath them. So he's the intermediate between the homeowner and you. So in that aspect, you don't go to the person that does the work, you go to the person that hired him. And so, it gets really confusing when you use those.
Go that way.
Yeah, when you use those type of outfits, then it gets really confusing, and that's why I say avoid them. You don't want that type of problem.
And then there's the other situation that just slipped out of my head.
Like what? Hiring friends?
No, but I can't believe the question just popped out of my head. We were talking about the staffing agencies. It's like a staffing agency, subcontractor. I don't know. It left my brain.
What are you talking about? Like hiring somebody?
There was another important question I was going to ask you after you stopped talking about that, but it popped out of my head.
There are all kinds of different ways you can hire people.
But it was important, so it may pop back.
Like if you find somebody that's working on the side, like through Facebook, they're doing Craigslist, there's multiple ways of putting yourself out there. There's always going to be good and bad. Do not work off referrals. One of the things that I always like to tell people is...
Oh, I remember what it is. Okay, so if you are working, if someone hires you and they have their own company, you're working under their company, but they 1099 you and say you're a contractor, when in actuality you are working for their company.
No.
How does that work?
It doesn't work that way. If they supply the materials...
So they say, okay, I'm hiring you, I'm giving you your hours, and I'm supplying all the materials, and I give you a paycheck on this day every week.
Right. If they tell you when to be there, when to leave, give you the materials...
You're working for them.
They are your employer.
You're not supposed to get a 1099.
That's correct. You're not a subcontractor. You are now an employee.
Yeah, and they should be carrying insurance to cover you.
Exactly. And by the way, that is a perfect segue to what is your homeowner liability for anyone on your property that gets hurt.
Right.
If that contractor does not have workers' comp, you are responsible.
It's on the homeowner.
You will be held responsible for anyone's injuries. And let me tell you, your homeowner's insurance will not cover it. You will lose it out of pocket. I know of at least 200 different cases that I have had associated with. I have testified in at least 24 of this type of event over the years where homeowners have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Their mortgage companies foreclosing on their homes because of it. Now, this may be all scary and everything to you, and you may never, ever, ever want to hire another contractor again.
Or be one.
But it's not meant to be that way. This is to educate you on how to pick a contractor. There are more good contractors than bad ones. Whenever a storm comes through, you are going to get the fly-by-nighters.
Yeah, the people coming to town.
Yeah, but you're also going to get the upstarters too. You don't want those. You want people that are established. They are not going to be shy. They're going to, look, you say you did these jobs. Let me see your pictures. What are the addresses so I can drive by? People are going to be proud of the work.
Ask for references, basically.
Well, it's not just references. I don't like bothering my customers, with having people call them, strangers. Hey, Richard did your work. How was it? I don't like having people do that because it's like phone sales, No, I don't want people doing that. But you can drive by their home and take a look at it and know, well, Richard did this work and it looks really good. It's been a couple of years. Like, go by 15th in Denver or 16th in Denver and look at Meyer Law Firm where I did the full 3 stories by myself and take a look and see if it doesn't look brand new. And it hasn't been painted since. And I only did all the work by myself. I used inexperienced help to do the small stuff for me so that I could get all the expertise work done by me because I had another job. So those are things that you do for your customer and say, go take a look at this. Drive around. You drive around to look at houses. So drive around, look at what their work is. If it's interior, you may not be able to get inside someone's home. So you're going to have to rely on multiple pictures. I take pictures of every stage of my jobs. That is the thing about taking pictures.
If they have a website, then usually there will be reviews too.
Well, reviews are like buttholes.
Why?
They all stink.
Because you can delete them?
Well, no. The reviews, you're going to get more complaints than you're going to get good reviews. People that don't, they're just not going to take the time to say something good about you in multitudes. They're going to complain to say, well, you did a bad job when you may not have even done their job. Just because, they didn't like the fact, whenever I did the job for the lady with the cleaning service, we won't mention her name, where I painted her house too quickly, and she said, well, the contract was too high because you did it too quickly. And I changed the color of the house because I told her that I don't pick colors, you pick the color, and I will paint it that way. And I still did it anyway, and she didn't like the color, and I painted it for free. And I did it.
Right, she switched the color.
Yes. She told me to drive around the corner, look at this house, and pick the color. And I picked that color, and then when it got on her house, it wasn't what she liked, and then she wanted a color change. And then I even threw in extra work, and I got it done too quickly. And then she was like, got mad because I got it done too quickly. I've never had anybody say I got their job done too quickly, but she was nuts, and So there are people like that are going to never be satisfied with the work that you do, and you got to just roll with it. And your name is all you have in the business. So.
And there's a lot of people out there that believe if you're with the Better Business Bureau that makes you that actually means something.
You pay to be in the Better Business Bureau. That is a membership, just like Angie's List is a membership. You pay for leads. If you get on any one of those websites that give you contractors' names, the contractors have paid for a certain amount of leads that they can get for a monthly surcharge, and that they're paying for that. And then if you leave a review, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything for the contractor. And in fact, if anything, it only boosts Angie's List or Andy on Call, or they're getting the review, not the contractor, the website. So just look, you can find very good contractors in town that have years and years of experience. I can name 2 plastering companies in town that I always refer to. All Star Stucco has over combined over 100 years of plastering experience. And then there's Pat McGill. And he goes by another name. I can't think of it right now. And, there are others that are out there. And like I used to say about myself, I did home remodels. I started out just wanting to do plaster repair, and that was it. But when it came to the plaster, there was Superior Stucco, there was Quality Lath and Plaster, and then there was me, Preferred. So They may have been superior.
The Slankards weren't around anymore?
No, Slankards were still there, but they had superior, they had quality, but I was always preferred. Play on words.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. I was never the highest, I was never the lowest. You got what you paid for. And when it comes to your home, that's what you got to look for. You got to look for what is your money actually paying for. Are you going to have to put money out first? If you got to put money out first, you don't go to the mechanic and pay your mechanic first. Why is that? Because he doesn't know what's wrong with your car. He doesn't have x-ray vision. I don't have x-ray vision. So I can't charge you until I know what's wrong. If I'm going to do a new job, I can give you a bid. And I still will not charge you a down payment unless it is an extremely large job. And that will be called a material payment. And you will pay for that material yourself. It will be owned by you, not by me. The supplier will have your name on it, not me. I will not own any of it. So if I do not stay on the job, you can bring in anyone else to finish that job if you don't like it. So those are things that you just got to look for. There's just no licensing, bonding, insurance. Insurance, insurance, insurance. Stop with the licensing and bonding. Tree services, remodels, everything. Granite countertops. There's everything out there has good and bad. You're just going to have to do your homework. Treat it like it's supposed to be. You know, don't just jump on the first price that's low. If you put $5,000 into your car that depreciates the moment you take it off the lot, why would you do that to your home that appreciates as it goes down the road? You know, everything you put into your home increases the value of your home. So spend a little bit more money on your home than what you would your car. You know, so I hope that just helps everybody out.
Thank you.